People find it surprising and confusing at the same time. Why does a leading nation of human rights executives leave the body once considered as a voice of the world in fighting against human rights abuses? On June 19th, the Trump administration made a shocking move, announcing its withdrawal from the UN Human Rights Council. Why did the United States leave the UNHRC?
We are withdrawing from the UN Human Rights Council, an organization that is not worthy of its name.
In fact, the Council has carried out very little action against human rights abuses committed among UN member states, such as violations of fundamental rights of freedom of belief, freedom of speech, and freedom of the press. Instead, the Council has allowed members who have Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. The Human Rights Council's recruitment of human rights abusers has long been a cause for concern of its legitimacy. In fact, the Council was manipulated by members with a bad profile. A 2008 report by Reuters said that independent human rights groups accused the Council of being controlled by several Middle Eastern and African countries, backed by China, Russia, and Cuba. The report said that this made the Human Rights Council less efficient and far from the obligations it had committed to. In a June 19th retweet, U.S. Ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley echoed a tweet from the U.S. mission to the UN. With members like China, Cuba, Congo, and Venezuela, the Human Rights Council is not worth its name. China is a typical case of human rights abuses, with a considerable number of bloody massacres. From the 1958 Great Leap Forward, which caused 20 to 40 million deaths, to the Cultural Revolution, with an estimated 2 million deaths, and the June 4, 1989 Tiananmen Massacre, when the PLA killed an estimated 10,000 innocent civilians, most of them students. Since 1999, the Chinese Communist regime has persecuted Falun Gong, a spiritual self-improvement practice based on the principles of truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance, and a set of gentle exercises. For years, Beijing has been repeatedly criticized by many human rights groups for its numerous human rights abuses. From civil rights abuses, freedom of thought, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, religious freedom, political freedom, to controversial policies such as the death penalty, forced prisoner confessions through torture, racial discrimination, absence of individual land ownership, control of business ownership, and more. With such a history of human rights abuses committed by China and other countries,
If the Human Rights Council is going to attack countries that uphold human rights and shield countries that abuse human rights, then America should not provide it with any credibility.